The Happiness Hypothesis, by Haidt. The Felicity of Virtue. What is virtue, and why is it important? Virtue means excellence and functional goodness, adapting to your unique potential. Benjamin Franklin, born in 1706, embodies the spirit of adventure and virtue. His approach to cultivating virtue was a broader form of virtue rooted in ancient Greek concepts. In his late 20s, he embarked on a bold mission to achieve moral perfection. He selected 13 virtues and crafted a regimen, focusing on one virtue each week. Although he never reached perfection, Franklin concluded that the process had made him a better and happier person. He attributed his lifelong contentment and success to this practice, which he considered a little artifice. The virtue hypothesis suggests that cultivating virtue leads to happiness. However, it's not without skeptics. Franklin himself failed to develop humility but learned to feign it. This raises questions about whether virtue's appearance might bring success and happiness regardless of one's true character. The virtues of the ancients. Despite cultural differences, virtues like honesty, justice, courage, benevolence, self-restraint, and respect for authority are highly valued across societies. This is exemplified in the teaching of Amenemope, an ancient Egyptian text from around 1300 BCE. Ancient texts use maxims and role models to convey moral lessons, engaging both the emotional and rational aspects of human nature. This approach is similar to Confucius and Buddha's teachings, which offer timeless aphorisms for guidance and insight. Moral development relies on repeated actions and practice, like mastering an instrument or a skill. This aligns with the idea that virtue resides in a well-trained elephant, as Franklin put it. For the ancients, morality was a form of practical wisdom, relying on finely tuned social perception and social emotion. This enabled individuals to automatically feel the right thing to do in each situation. How the West was lost. The ancient Greeks and the Bible emphasized virtues and character. But the Enlightenment in the 18th century brought a quest for simplicity in ethics and a growing emphasis on reason. Kant's categorical imperative and Bentham's utilitarianism favored parsimony and logical reasoning. This marked a significant shift from character-based ethics to quandary-based ethics. This shift narrows the scope of morality and relies on a flawed psychology that separates moral reasoning from the rest of life. It's like trying to make a dog happy by wagging its tail. The author's personal story about the impact of disgust on his diet choices highlights how powerful emotions and intuitions can be. We need to recognize the role of emotions and intuitions in moral decision-making. The virtue of positive psychology. The concept of virtue has been around for centuries, but it's evolving. Positive psychology focuses on character strengths rather than weaknesses. Psychologists Martin Seligman and Chris Peterson developed a diagnostic tool to identify character strengths. It's a flexible way to enhance individual excellence. The focus on strengths rather than weaknesses is a significant shift in personal development. Seligman's positive psychology class at the University of Virginia illustrates this point. The pursuit of excellence is about engaging fully and leveraging your strengths. It brings a sense of flow and intrinsic reward. Hard question, easy answers. Religious beliefs often invoke divine reciprocity in the afterlife. But from a psychological perspective, this belief aligns with a sense of immanent justice. Scientific research shows that altruism can indeed benefit the self, but in complex ways. For instance, high school students engaged in service learning indicate positive effects on civic participation and social values, but not necessarily on self-esteem or happiness. Long-term research in adults demonstrates that increased volunteer work is associated with higher levels of happiness and well-being. This effect is even more pronounced in the elderly, who also enjoy improved health and longer lives through volunteer work. In old age, as social networks may shrink, the social benefits of volunteering become more pronounced. Furthermore, volunteer activities align well with the themes of generativity, relationships, and spiritual strivings that matter more in old age, contributing to a satisfying life conclusion. The future of virtue. Older times emphasized honor, reputation, and propriety. But as we've become more inclusive and diverse, traditional values have eroded. While demographic diversity is essential, moral diversity might not be a coherent goal. It can lead to division, especially when it comes to moral issues. Creating a shared identity is essential to achieving a more cohesive society. Leadership on virtue should come from a movement of people rather than major political actors. Youth charter communities are addressing enemy without perpetuating historical injustices. They involve parents, teachers, coaches, religious leaders, and children themselves.